mortality from what's witnessed today, it would still far exceed that of the 1918 pandemic. Unfortunately, far too much has been made of that issue, and it is a diversion from what I believe are really the important issues at hand. The NSABB found the potential risk of public harm to be unusually high magnitude. In formulating the recommendations, the NSABB tried to balance the great risk against the benefits that could come from making the details of this research known. Because the NSABB found that there was significant potential for harm in fully publishing these results, that the harm exceeded the benefits of publication, the board therefore recommended that the work not be fully communicated in open forum. Now, we did share both in Science and in Nature our statement, and that is beyond what we formally presented to the U.S. government. Let me just really emphasize an important point here. We believe that our role, as charged by the U.S. government, was to give advice on the dual-use research issue here. But in our statements, we made it very clear that this had to be the beginning, not the end of the discussion, that it must include a global life sciences input, that in fact what we wanted to do was do no harm, but that did not mean that ultimately down the road with further discussion and further deliberation that there might not be a review of this that would allow us to say we might make in fact more information available. So in fact the NSABB never saw itself as the court of final vote. It saw itself really as the court of the first vote, that really to cause a pause for us to think about this carefully. We've tried to provide additional clarification on our role. Paul authored a paper here in Nature, a Q&A section with input from a number of the members here. I would urge you to look at this. He also provided a rationale for the recommendations, impact and implications in InBio, as well as Rob Webster, one of the expert consultants to the NSABB, published a similar type of commentary in InBio looking at this issue, and Rob's input into this process was very important. Some of us have tried to also deal with the ancillary issues, case fatality rate, the real potential for countermeasure production and availability, and those articles are also available. Let me just conclude with the fact that we had input from a number of people, and a fair amount of it was unsolicited but very helpful. This is a message we received from an influenza virologist here in this country. Paul is aware of who this came from as it was shared with the NSABB. I just want to share with you this note, which was not that uncommon in what we heard. I'm an influenza virologist myself, and we routinely create viral mutants in my lab using reverse genetics, so I have a good sense of the technical issues involved. As such, I can recognize that some outspoken researchers in our field have been underrepresenting the increased risk that would be entailed by full publication of the specific mutations versus the current situation, where only the general outline of the ferret passage scheme is known. A ferret passage experiment is expensive and technically demanding, and could only be done by a handful of labs in the world. Once the mutations are public, individuals